Hi, this is Ben Roberts from the Six Conversations hosting team with a video about how to navigate the social system map associated with the Six Conversations, including how to add some additional information to it. The map is really starting to take shape now, and so I wanted to have a little email to walk you through some of the different things you can do with the map. This stuff is a little bit tricky. It's a little bit complicated. It takes a little bit of work and a little bit of patience. It's handmade. We are weaving something together. It's handcrafted, and that comes with both a certain kind of beauty and also requires a certain amount of patience. So we're looking here at the Now What blog main page, nowwhatgathering.com/blog. And the reason I'm showing you this is that if you scroll down here, you'll find the Six Conversations invitation post, and that has links to all kinds of useful things. So if you're ever kind of not clear how to find things, go to nowwhatgathering.com/blog and look for this. So here's where the registration link is. If you haven't registered, we ask that everyone who's participating in the conversations do that. And once you do that, we'll send you the calendar invites you asked for. We'll add you to the map if you want to be on it. You'll get the link to add harvest items to your conversations. You can also get a link directly to the map here on the blog post, and you can get information about the different cohorts that are forming. And we know we don't have everything up yet. I think about 8 out of the 12 or 13 cohorts have information now, and new cohorts are still being added. So we ask for your patience there, but there is some information available in that location. Let's take a look at the map. So you click here to open up the map, which I already have open, and it's going to default to the cohorts view. So here you see all the individuals that have added themselves to the map, and you can click on any one of them and see some information about them. You'll see that a few of you have added thumbnail images, and we'll show you how to do that in a minute. So we'll talk about how to add more data to the map in a second, but let's just get a little tour of it. So in this cohorts view, you see people, and in blue, you see the different cohorts. And you can click on these and find out actually information, I think, about all the cohorts. There is something there for every one of them at this point. Maybe not a lot, but at least a little bit. And then we have other views. So once you've selected something, this sidebar shows the information for that. If you click on the white space, it takes you back to this main view of the sidebar, and you can get to the other map views. So here's a view that's not really fleshed out a whole lot, but I'd love to have you add some more data here. And here you're asked to share something about the people you've been in conversation with. And I like to think of this as a kind of a love map. And each of these lines represents some kind of a comment, an acknowledgement of value received from somebody in your sessions. So in this case of here's Dita responding to Joe, saying that we're collaborating as a result of these conversations. They're both on the hosting team, so we've been collaborating for a while. She's saying she deepened an existing relationship, which is also coded in here, and that it led her to consider doing some more work together, which is why it's orange. Or maybe it's orange just because we're collaborating as a result of this. And sometimes there are little stories. There's additional information that you might find. For example, here, more about the connection we made. And so it's worth finding yourself on the map if there are any lines pointing to you. And by the way, you can use the search here to pull yourself up. And if there are lines, clicking on yourself and seeing what things said. Oh, look, Jim indicated something. I haven't even read this yet. So the map doesn't generate notifications when this happens. This is part of, I don't know, the messiness of the experiment, if you will. But you can go in here and see what people are indicating, and I'll show you how to add these connections yourself. The other view we have is the harvest view. So here we have all the ownership harvests from the ownership conversation that we've had this week that were submitted through the Google form that we're using to do that. And again, you can click on any of these, and you'll see also similarly, we now have some lines connecting different individuals that have responded to some of these, myself and Dita so far being the only ones. But part of the reason I'm recording this video is to show you how you can add some of these as well. So for example, here's Dita responding to my Six Conversations hosting ownership story, saying she's inspired to do some work based on this and giving it an extra big thumbs up, which is why it's a fat line rather than a skinny line. Here's me saying I added this element. That's why it's a skinny brown line. So how do you add your own data here? I mean, first of all, you might want to just browse around and before, or if you're going to add data, you want to have the map open because not all of this information is going to be visible. In some cases, there's quite a bit when you go into the mapping interface. But let's talk about how you get to the mapping interface. So that's this other piece of software called SumApp, the one that's sending you these emails with the links in them. So if you've registered and you asked to be on the map, you've got a link to your personal dashboard. It would say welcome, it would have your name, and it's got some information here. And it has all these different tabs at the top. If you can't find that email, it's from 6 Conversations hosts, and the actual sender is noreply@sumapp.net. You can get to it from the map. And again, clicking on the white space to bring this up. Right here, it says retrieve your link to update your map info here. So if you click that, you'll get a little form that lets you get the link that takes you here. Now, once you're here, this is where you can add a picture if you haven't done that. Most of this information has already been updated for you from your original submission when you registered and using the Google form. Oh, look, I've already had the ownership conversation. I'm going to check that off. So as you have these conversations, you want to indicate that you've done that. You can go through and look at the information that's here, see if you want to change anything, that's fine. So ignore this part at the bottom about where it says only for the hosting team. When you have what you want, you can click next or save at the bottom. And now we're moving. I need to check that off. Now we're moving to the Connections tab. So this is where you can find people that you've been in conversation with and indicate something about how your connections have developed as a result of being part of this. So if you recall, this was the love map view, right? These are these lines here. And it's this little survey. So I've clicked on, you can see all the different people that have registered. And that little short description that they provided. If you want to see more about them, you'll have to find them on the map, which is why I suggest having the map open as well sometimes. But you can click on any of these. You can say you got to know someone for the first time, you deepened a relationship, maybe it led you to consider doing some work together. You can say if there's some kind of action that's happening, more about the connection. And you can also name some gifts you received from this person during your conversations you've had with them. If you're connecting to a cohort, so then you have a different survey. So let's take a look at that and how you find those. You'll see some of them are tagged as cohort. And if you wanted to just pull only the cohorts, you can go here to filter by segment and click cohort. And now we see all the cohorts. So if you're a part of a cohort, I encourage you to go and find it in here, click on it, and put in some information. You may have to scroll down from the top of this form to here to say whether you're a member or a convener of that cohort, or maybe you're just considering joining. And then to answer these 4 ownership questions. So this is another version of the ownership conversation that we did not have in our live calls, but we're inviting you to do here on the map. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to put a number from 1 to 7 in here, and you can say a little bit more about that. And this is a nice way to indicate to everyone else in the cohort something about the level of engagement, the level of ownership that you're showing up with. And any number is fine, 1 to 7. It's really, getting the information is what we want, not trying to look good by putting in a higher number. There's no shame in being a 1. It's actually among the most useful kinds of data you can have. Anyway, so that's how you create some lines between people and between cohorts. Again, so the lines between people are going to show up in this view, in the relationship building view, and the lines to cohorts are going to show up in this view. And now let's look at how you create the lines in the harvest section, which is what I really wanted to show you today, or at least was the catalyst for my recording yet another long video for you. So in this case, we're going to harvest reactions. And here you can see all of those harvest items that have come in so far. And you get the title and you get a short description. But again, you're going to want to go to the map to see a little bit more detail, probably. So if you see something here, and that intrigues me, slow down to nature's pace. Come over here, and maybe you can just spot it. But you can also just go up here and put in slow, and there it is. Click that. And now over here in the sidebar, I can see a little bit more about that. In this case, that really is the complete statement, whereas in some of these, you might find significantly more information like this one here. So once you've decided you want to respond to that, the idea is only respond to things if you resonate with them, right? And you can give it various degrees of thumbs up. If it's something you added, this is the other thing you can do, is find the things that you have added here and just tag yourself as having added this element. It'd be nice if that happened automatically. I know it doesn't. You can also now put in requests and indicate actions you want to take and provide additional details, and then click save. And that's how Dita and I have added these various lines that you see here. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you for this particular message, and happy mapping. I get that this may not be for everybody, but if you've listened this far and you've hung with it, I really encourage you to give this a try. I think as we progress, and particularly when we get into some of the other conversations, you'll see that this becomes a tool for self-organizing, for really some collective sense-making, but also for getting a sense of where we might want to go next within different cohorts, or in terms of new things that might be forming as a result of this. So thank you again for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed playing in the mapping space.